Thank you to the BAASS team for having us join on today. We're really looking forward to presenting you with the Sage Enterprise Intelligence solution and listening into James and Barty give the introduction into business intelligence. It's definitely a good segue into what we're about to present. So before we get into it, just an introduction to ourselves. My name is Olivia, and I'm the Director of Business Development for the SEI solution in North America. And Jasdeep is joining me today. He's our pre-sales engineer, and he'll be getting into a short product demonstration so you can see the solution in action. And hopefully that'll help clear up some of the questions as well regarding differentiation between products and really help you identify which solution is right for you. In terms of the agenda and what we're going to cover today, I know, again, Barty and James covered some of this in their presentation earlier, but we'll talk a little bit more about the business intelligence challenges that organizations are struggling with today. We'll get into a product overview on SEI, again, a short demo. We'll talk about why SEI, and we will address some of the differences between the two products, Sage Intelligence and Sage Enterprise Intelligence. Of course, the naming of the two products makes it a little bit confusing, but we will get a little bit into that as well. And we'll leave time for the Q&A at the end. And I believe, just as the previous sessions, you can type questions into the chat box throughout the presentation if anything comes to mind. Just quickly, a quick mention that we will be taking the full 50 minutes to present the session. It'll be the same session content throughout the almost hour. So I just wanted to let everybody know that it is the same session, and we'll be continuing into the second part as well, leaving an extra 5 minutes for everybody at the end. So I hope that's okay. And again, thanks everyone for joining us, and let's get right into it, talking about the BI challenges and what customers like yourselves are struggling with today when it comes to data analysis and reporting. Here we go. One of the key challenges that we hear today with organizations, and as organizations continue to grow, first and foremost is around the data. So you're probably a company who's not just using Sage 300 ERP for their data gathering, but you might also be using other solutions, maybe something for your payroll, maybe something for your CRM. As that data continues to grow and is represented by multiple different systems, it becomes very challenging to get a clear picture into the organization situation, what's going on with all that data, and really organize it for analysis and reporting. Again, something that companies are really struggling with today. The lack of insight overall and ability to get information in real time to be able to make proactive, not just reactive decisions is also a huge challenge. It has to do, again, with not having access to all the information needed to make those decisions. It's become, of course, difficult, especially in today's day and age and the way that we're all kind of working remotely, to collaborate easily as well and share information with key team members who need to have access to that information. There's also a lot of complexity and performance issues when we talk about what comes out of the box with the ERP, but not only that, maybe certain ways that you're trying to run reports today, whether it be manually in Excel, whether it be using queries on the ERP system. It's oftentimes very complex. And again, you have performance issues sometimes when you have really large volumes of data that you're trying to organize and run reports on. In terms of Sage Enterprise Intelligence, just to give you an idea of where we are in the market today, we've been sold globally for quite a number of years. We have over 2,000 customers using the solution today, including many Sage 300 customers, of course. And again, we're the BI solution for multiple Sage products, focusing today, of course, on Sage 300. What is Sage Enterprise Intelligence all about? And we covered it off when we talked about, some of the challenges. It's about data analysis and reporting and really helping organizations like yourselves gain easy access to the information you need to better do your jobs and to make better decisions. It also provides a data management platform as well, which allows you to more easily organize your information, pull your information all together. So again, you can get that full enterprise-wide view of what's going on in your company. In terms of some of the benefits that SEI is providing customers today and can provide organizations like yourselves, it'll help you to gain visibility and insight, empower your users, more easily collaborate in a secure manner with colleagues, plan for the future, and last but not least, achieve quick ROI. And I'll get into each of those benefits into a little bit more detail, starting with gaining visibility and insight. Again, we talk about data, how difficult and challenging it can be to organize all of your data into one place for data analysis and reporting. SEI will allow you to do that in a multitude of different ways, and it'll allow you to use a multitude of different platforms actually to do your analysis and reporting. We provide a full web interface that's HTML5, accessible from a mobile device, as well as an Excel add-in primarily used today for financials. When we talk about the data management side of things and the ability to manage data from multiple different systems, SEI actually provides a full data management module, which allows you to do this a lot more easily. It facilitates moving data from one system to another, but it also facilitates the consolidation of data coming from different sources. When we talk about consolidation, one of the struggles and challenges I hear quite often from organizations who run Sage 300 is that it's very difficult to get a consolidated view of multiple databases and multiple companies, which is something that a lot of you have set up today in your Sage 300 systems. SEI actually provides a consolidation module out of the box that allows organizations to actually access the consolidated view of data, as well as the company per company view of data as well. Really, really easy to set up, easy to manage, and something that solves for that pain point of being able to consolidate among multiple databases or companies. The other thing I want to mention about SEI in terms of the data management side of things, if you have information or systems that are running on-prem and you've also added in systems that are running in the cloud, one of the advantages of the data management module is it allows you to bring that data together regardless of the source for analysis and reporting. I won't get into too much detail on the other components of the data management, but I did just want to mention that it definitely facilitates bringing that data together, whether it be inside of or outside of Sage softwares. Empowering all users, another very important key benefit of SEI. Anyone can use it, whether you're more technical or more of an end user, you just want to access reports maybe that have already been created, do a little bit of manipulation, perhaps just drill down, things of that nature. SEI, it's very, very easy to use. You'll see when Jazz does his demo and kind of how easy it is to just drag and drop things around, make changes on the fly. I think you'll get an idea of really, again, how anyone can use it. And even on the technical side, as an admin or power user, it's also very easy and intuitive to use. Easy to set up new data sources, create new reports, so on and so forth. Collaboration, I go back to the fact that we're kind of all working from home. You might be having some challenges today collaborating with your colleagues, getting the right information into their hands when they need it. Collaboration is hugely important in today's day and age, and SEI provides a really easy way for you to share information more easily with colleagues, whether it be colleagues inside of your organization or outside of your organization. Maybe you want to send information to suppliers, customers, whatever it is. We have a distribution module that will allow you to schedule reports to be sent out to any number of, again, users or non-users of the software. The recipients of these reports don't have to have licenses to log into the software. They're receiving static reports with the information they need, basically in order to do their jobs. Another option with the distribution is that you can actually set up conditions on these reports as well. So if there's an important change happening in your organization, notify me immediately of this change so I can take action. That's something that you can set up with SEI's distribution module. There are several other sharing features. I won't get into all of them in detail, but just know that it's definitely a huge value add of the solution and makes sharing information a lot more efficient. Something that's unique about SEI and that sets us apart from other business intelligence solutions out there is that SEI actually allows you to not only analyze what's going on today, but also to make plans for the future. We provide the ability to enter information into the solution to create things like budgets and forecasts. We are not a full-blown budgeting and forecasting tool as you would see in something like a True Sky, but we do cover the basic needs when it comes to budgeting and forecasting, whether it be sales or on the finance side. We actually provide a full sales forecasting module out of the box with this solution. But again, it is something that differentiates us from other solutions, is having that ability to actually enter data into the software. Last but not least, SEI will allow you to achieve quick ROI. It's not a super expensive solution to get going with. It's pretty quick to implement and learn as well. You can deploy it on-prem or in the cloud. But really what makes the ROI so quick with SEI is the fact that we deliver so many templates, reports, dashboards, right out of the box that you can start using from day one. The templates that we deliver are based on pretty much all of the different modules in the ERP. So you have sales, finance, project jobs, so on and so forth. You name it, we pretty much cover all the bases. Again, because it's so easy to use, things are very easily modifiable. You can create new reports on the fly as well. We utilize two different types of data access. We deliver real-time reports that are based on, of course, the live data. So any changes that are made in the Sage 300 database, any accounts that are added, you can automatically have those, they're automatically generated in the SEI reports. We also have another option, which utilizes our OLAP technology or cubes for data analysis and reporting. What that means is that basically it will improve the performance of the reports. If you're a customer who has very large volumes of data and you're struggling with the current tools that you have today in terms of performance, it's taking you 10, 20, 30 minutes, maybe even longer to run certain reports, using the OLAP technology in SEI will definitely solve for that problem. You're not running the reports on real time. However, the information in the OLAP cubes can be refreshed on a very frequent basis, I would say, every 5, 10, 15 minutes. And again, it'll help you improve performance of those reports so that you're not stuck waiting for things to pop up and be updated. The other advantage of the OLAP technology is the ability to bring in outside data sources as well and consolidate with Sage 300. So if you do have something that you're using outside of Sage, whether it be a CRM system, even if it's a legacy system that you're kind of still running in the background so that you have access to your legacy information, you can actually bring that in to an SEI cube and consolidate it with your Sage 300 data to have your reports running on all of that data. So again, kind of going back to the gaining visibility and insight aspect of it as well, having the option to view all of that data all together. And again, the reports that come either real time or out of the box with our cube technology, they're all ready to go and ready to use from day one. The last thing I'm going to mention, something that we delivered recently with the software, and for those of you, again, I didn't mention this, but for those of you on the call who already own SEI, we'll be doing the demonstration today, and what we're talking about is on our latest version, version 9. So you might see a little bit of a different UI, a couple of new features and functionality. Again, we're showing version 9 today, and this is one of the things that we recently delivered with SEI as well. There are universal data models. Just in addition to what we deliver already out of the box with the real-time templates, the templates that run based on the data warehouses or cubes, we also have our universal data models, which essentially are a set of pre-built dashboards, reports, preset KPIs that are more role-based. We have one for finance, sales, and CRM, and you'll see that there's a lot of good stuff in there, especially on the finance side of things. It'll get you started with things like a CFO dashboard, a company overview, you name your financial report, balance sheet, cash flow, what have you. It's all already there, ready to be used with your Sage 300 data. Again, these can all be modified, and the reason we call them universal is because, again, you can actually use them to connect to any data source. So if you have Salesforce, for example, running and you want to bring it into the CRM data model, you can very easily make that connection. It's actually already there. So again, just kind of furthering that experience in terms of accessing all of your data in these out-of-the-box reports. On that note, I'm going to pass it over to Jasdeep. I think I've already taken up too much time here. He'll get into a little bit of a product demonstration so you can see the product in action.
Thanks, Olivia, for your presentation again, and thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today for this demonstration. My name is Jasdeep, and I'm pre-sales engineer for Sage Enterprise Intelligence, and I will be walking you through this product demo today and showing you all the cool features which SEI brings to us. All right, so like Olivia mentioned, that SEI is a solution which is offered through multiple platforms, whether it's web, mobile, or Excel add-in. So first of all, we will actually have a look at the web application side of Sage Enterprise Intelligence. So here I have opened this solution on a Google Chrome browser. You can also use it on other browsers which support HTML5. It's also available in multiple languages. And here I'm going to log in. And while I'm logging in, I'll explain that each SEI user gets a unique username and password, and there are different security settings that can be tied to each login, making sure that users who are logging in, whether they are from financial teams or sales team, they have access to the right information. And soon as we log in, we will be taken directly into the main landing page of SEI. All right, so now what we see here is the main landing page. And just to explain you a little bit of layout here. So we have very clean and nice interface here. On the left-hand side of the screen, we have the command center, which comes with 4 different tabs. The first one being the data models and views. This is basically the repository for out-of-the-box templates that are delivered from the day one when SEI is deployed, and these are tailored to the ERP systems, which would be Sage 300 in this case. So we see all the different folders here: accounts payables, accounts receivables, finance, sales, project job costing, and so on. So all of these are tailored to Sage 300. Next tab is the dashboards, and this is again a set of pre-built dashboards which are delivered out of the box. Then there's a report designer and also a section called favorites to store your saved work or to save some of the reports which you'll be using more frequently. So you have a section for that. Now let's come back to the first one, which is the data models and views. Now, I already explained that we have out-of-the-box templates, and this is in fact the list of all out-of-the-box reports that we get. And then these are also the templates and the reports within them which are pulling the data in the real time. Then on top of that, we deliver another set of templates, which is called the universal data model. And it's also its own set of reports and dashboards. And the difference and the reason why we have universal data model on top of the real-time templates is that this helps users to bring in the data from multiple data sources. So if you have data not only staying in Sage 300, you might be using any third-party software, any other CRM software, or simply your legacy data. You can bring all of the data together and report on that with the help of universal data models. So now let's dive in deeper and have a look at some of these reports, and I will explain you what they look like and what is the basic principle behind these reports and how easy it is to work on these, slice and dice them. So I'm opening one of the financial reports, which is the detailed transactions. And as it loads, I'll start explaining you the basic principle behind this. So these are based on the groups, pivots, and columns. These are the 3 shelves that we see right here. And the fields and the different columns that we see in the report really depend on what fields we enter into these shelves. To give you an example, in the groups, we have the first field as the fiscal year. That's the reason we have 2020 right here. And then following 2020 is the fiscal period. So I am seeing all the fiscal periods. And then further, I can drill down on one of these fiscal periods to see all the segment codes. And here are 2 different segments, commercial and retail. And further drilling down on one of these, I'll also be able to see the account numbers. So here are all the different account numbers. I can also go further to drill down to see the raw level details, such as the journal primary reference, the entry numbers, or the transaction dates for each one of these accounts. So this is a pre-built report, a general report that can easily be sliced and diced. We can easily swap the fields around and even bring in the new fields into this. So for example, if I want to bring in a company code into this, so we have a toolbar here on the right-hand side of the screen. And one of the tools here is called the dimensions and measures. I'll go and pick pick up another dimension. Let's say into company, I'll pick company code, and I can simply drag and drop that into my groups as the first field. And now the next thing I see here is that I see a consolidated report, because this is a consolidated data that we have as to show you as a demo data. So we have SAM Inc. and SAM Ltd. as the two sample companies. And then every time we again drill down on this, it will filter the fiscal years and all the corresponding data particular to those companies that come as the parent levels of the drill down. So coming back to the dimensions and measures, just to explain you, this is the place where you can pick new fields, whether it's dimensions or whether it's any kinds of metrics that you might want to bring in. So here in the transaction, journal, currencies, so all of these are the pre-built KPIs, and I will show you many more of these which are available with each data model and also the universal data model, and we can easily bring them in by simply dragging and dropping them into the reports and making them just the way we want to see our data. Another kind of example of the reports I would like to show you here is a report based on the sales. This is called the invoice by customer and product. So here I have two levels of drill down, customer code and product code. So here are all my customers. And once I drill down on one of these customers, I can see the products too. Now, the new feature with SEI's version 9 is that we have the integration of the images and the hyperlinks within these worksheets. So right next to the description of each one of these products, we are looking at also the images of these products too. So I can hover onto them to enlarge them and clearly see what exact product we are looking at. Could be very useful when we are looking at the inventory level stocks in the reports or manufacturing reports or even the sales reports, for example. And right next to that is also a hyperlink. Clicking on this could take us directly back into the ERP system, Sage 300, and then it filters on the exact same product that this hyperlink is aligned with, and then we can use the native tabs within Sage 300 to have more details about the same product, such as the shipment details or the payment details and all that sort of information. Another thing that we noticed here in this report is the last column, which is called the margin percentage, and we see color coding, which has been implemented here in this report. Now, this is called column formatting in SEI, and I'll show you what it actually looks like and how we actually set these business rules up. So since this is a sales report, I have set up 3 different rules on the margin percentage. To give you an example, if my margin percentage is greater than or equal to 50%, I would like to see it as green colored and also with an icon thumbs up. I can also go and add additional business rules. So I'll give you an example right here. So we can pick up the dimension which we want to operate on, and we can compare it against a constant value that we defined by ourselves. We can also compare it against a column within the same worksheet and also any other global variable which exists within SEI. Then we can go and pick our icon of our choice and also the background colors. So this is the way I have actually set up these business rules. And no matter how I slice and dice this report, let's say if this time I go into the dimensions and I bring in quarter, and I put the quarter this time into the pivots. Now this way we also see the use of pivots in these reports. Now what it's going to do, it's going to keep my customer codes and all the transactions and keep them quarter by quarter. So here I have quarter 1, 2, 3, and 4 all lined up and side by side, in fact, and then I can drill down on that and see the transactions and compare the sales amounts for each quarter kept next to each other. And also the column formatting that we applied is very much intact throughout this report. So that's another kind of integration I wanted to highlight. And of course, when it comes to deleting some of getting rid of some of the fields that you do not want to see anymore, we can simply hover onto these fields and click on the cross button, and it very easily gets sliced and diced. So far what we have seen is an example of a financial report and also a sales report, and all of these reports merely are the numbers. But what if we need to create something visual out of this? So for that, one of the tools which exist in the toolbar is the view type. And this presents with over 100 different views that we can use to visualize the existing data. So we can use bar charts, line charts, pie charts. In this example, what we see in the background is a worksheet. We also have the integration with the Google Maps and the vector maps for the rest of the world, and some more advanced charts such as combination, financial, and so on. So let's go ahead and pick one of these charts. I'll pick vertical bar chart for this example. And in a matter of few seconds, what we were seeing as a report initially is now being transformed into a visualization, a bar chart. So here we have that converted as a bar chart, lots of information. But again, just like the worksheets, we can swap the fields around, we can slice and dice things even on these views. So let's pick this quarter and put it into the groups as a first field. And here I have my information for that. Again, this time I'm just going to keep my currency amount as the field. And there we go. In the quarter one, I can further, just like the worksheets, we have the ability to drill down even on these visualizations too. So I can drill down on quarter one and see all the different customers. If it is too much of an information, we can always go into the chart properties and then do some of the settings to change the aesthetics of these views. So I've set 5 items per page. Now, each one of these bars will be spread across different pages, and I can clearly see the customers with the different numbers. And then once we are happy with the look and feel of these reports or the visualizations that we just create, then we can, of course, go ahead and save the changes. We can override the existing ones, or we can also save the new ones that we create for ourselves. So once the work is done, we have saved it. Of course, the next need is to share our work across the organization, both inside and outside. SCI allows us to share these reports, visualizations, and even dashboards in a very safe and secure manner. One of the tools which exists here in the toolbar is called sharing option, and it comes with a bunch of different tools. So we'll go through them. And for example, here we can use the export tool to export these worksheets or visualizations in multiple formats. It could be PDF, Excel, HTML. We can also use the send comment feature. Now what this does, it takes a screenshot of either the report or the visualization, and we can highlight something which needs some attention right here. So for example, this customer, for this particular customer, we did not make enough sales. So I want to highlight this out and then send it as an email to the sales rep responsible for that, for example. And the exact remark appears right here. We can also download this as an image and then include that in the PowerPoint slides to talk about that in the team meetings, for example. And then one of the most important features of sharing is that you can subscribe to these reports and visuals based on the schedule that you set for yourself. So we can choose an action on how to receive these, whether by email or simply saved on the network drive. We can also choose who should be the owner of these reports, add recipients, add subject and description, of course, and finally set the schedule. So if I want to receive this updated information on this view at 9 a.m. on every Monday and let's say Thursday of the week, that's all I have to do. With these few clicks and hitting subscribe, SCI will automate the whole process of sending out the updated numbers to me on the time selected. When it comes to distribution and automated subscription, we have a more advanced side of that too. And here I'm going to show you some of those features as well. So in the scheduler section, we can create a new job where we can also add multiple reports or put together in one PDF file, which could be easily shared across the organization. So let's say if I want to create a reporting pack for financial reports, I type in finance and it filters all the financial reports readily. And then here I include APAR, trial balance, posting analysis, balance sheet. So these 4 reports are something that I want to include in the reporting pack. If I have any Excel reports as well, we have the option to include them also. Then comes the consolidated report section. I can give it a name, add a cover page to that to give it a more formal description when we share it, let's say with our board members, and table of contents. And these are the 4 views that I need to be included in that PDF file. And then finally set the schedule. Now, an example of the end result, what would come across to the recipients, is something that will look like this. Of course, this is a sample pack that I have created, but here we have the table of contents that we can look at, and then each SCI web view and the worksheet can then be put together and sent across as a package like this. We can also set the conditions and do a conditional subscription to the numbers on these reports as well. So to give you a real life example of this, let's talk about the inventory stock levels, for example. If the inventory stock levels are crucial for us, and we can set up a condition for that. Let's say if the inventory stock levels fall below 1000, then I want to receive a notification about that, and then SCI will do so, giving a full-fledged report on the inventory stock levels, and of course the notification, as it will be received by email. And then we can of course take the appropriate actions to either reorder the stock levels or take some appropriate action to tackle that right there. So it helps us be proactive rather than being just reactive about this problem that we actually occur. So that's the sharing and distribution side of it. I'm actually going to go ahead and quickly save this view, as we will use this one in a moment, and I'll just give it name as product demo. All right, so far what we have seen is the different views, and then how we can slice and dice them very easily, and then we can also change these reports into visualizations, as we just saw. And then all of these visualizations can then be put together to create the dashboards. And that's the second part that I want to focus on right now. So just like the reports, we have pre-built set of dashboards as well. So sales, inventory and production, finance, and then with the universal data model, we have tons of different options to choose from, such as role-based dashboards with industry standard KPIs. So here I'm going to open one of the financial dashboards, which is called the CFO, which includes a lot of different KPIs, as we will see in a moment. So as this dashboard is loading, we can already see gross margin. Then we have operating income right here. In the middle, we have a lot of different KPIs, such as performance, profitability, leverage, and then cash to cash cycle on the right-hand side right here. So all of these views can be put together, and these are delivered from these out-of-the-box dashboards, which are very, very useful in a way that they tell us the full story of the business. On the top, we actually have a filtering panel, and different options have been included right here, whether it's fiscal year, fiscal period, global currency. You can also add new ones such as departments or cost centers or branch codes, site codes, and so on. Here, I'll pick one of these fiscal periods, and let's say I select fiscal period 6, and I click on apply. So now this filtering option and the selection that I just made is going to filter everything on this dashboard based on the fiscal period 6. So that way we see that how quickly the data loads, and these dashboards are very dynamic in that way. And here I'll open up another example for the sales. Let's open a sales summarized dashboard. Again, this dashboard also includes a lot of different KPIs related to sales, where we can clearly see the month-to-month growth over the periods. We can also spot what were the top 5 products, or who are the top 10 customers in that particular year or that particular calendar period. All right, so we see invoice amount, year-to-year growth, invoice margins, the quantities. Here, the first chart is telling us the information about month-to-month growth over the periods, where the blue bars are the actual amounts, and where the ones in the green are the amounts from the last year. And then there's also a spline which goes over the top of them, which is showing me the information for the margin, the month-to-month growth over the periods. And on this right-hand side, we actually have the top 5 products this year versus last year as per their sales numbers. So we can see the trends on these sales. And right here at the bottom, we also have a Google map. So this is the map where we can actually drill down all the way to zoom in all the way to the level of the streets. And then we can also look at these bubbles, click on them, and then it tells us the information that who was the customer close to Pittsburgh who bought from us, and then what was the invoice amount which was charged from this customer. So here is that information. We can include many more such KPIs within these tool tips as well, such as margin percentage made from the sale to this customer. And then now, to give you an example of what we can do next with this uh, view within this dashboard, is that we can spot something as a trend on these dashboards and can further switch to any other web view from these dashboards to investigate further or to have more details about that. So just let's take this customer, for example. The customer ID is NA006. I want to have more details about this customer, the history of the sales with this customer. So I have an option called Link To, and clicking on that, SCI presents a list of different web views, the worksheets that I can connect to within SCI to have more details. So let's say if I select actual versus last month as my worksheet, now it is going to filter on the exact same customer ID, which is NA006. And here I have the customer name, Cisco Supply. And as I drill down on that, I can now see the sales history for this customer. What was the amount for each period? I can also further drill down and see what were the products sold to this customer, what stat groups were they into, and also how were the sales looking in last year or last month, and the margin percentage. And never forget the fact that we can always go back into the dimensions and measures and bring in anything of our choice, such as month-to-month growth, quarter-to-quarter growth, or rolling 3, rolling 12. All of these KPIs are pre-built calculations which can be simply dragged and dropped into these web views. So for example, if I want to bring in the uh, rolling 12 invoice margin, I can drag and drop that into my columns. And next time I actually have a new column created right here showing me the rolling 12 for the invoice margin. These the dashboards that we have looked so far, again, just like the worksheets, they are also customizable. So which means I can click on the added dashboard option right here, and then we see that each individual comes into its own little window. Now I can go ahead and resize these views. I can delete them if needed, and then I can include a brand new view into these dashboards by simply picking the views from the data models and views, the one that we just created, for example. So here I'll just show you an example of that. Okay, so if I go back into the data models and views right here, my apologies, the internet is not working very well today for me. However, I'll just come back to this in a moment and show you how easy it is to simply drag and drop the different views into the dashboards and just make them customize them, I would say, the way you would like. So by the time it actually loads, I would like to just talk about some of the other advanced features, like which Olivia mentioned in the presentation, that we actually have available with SEI. So with SEI, we can create some of the budgets, and also we can do the forecasting as well. So with the universal data models, we actually have an example to show you for the sales forecasting. So in the forecast data entry, this is one of the data models that is available. Here we can create the forecast either by quarter, by month, or by week. So let's say a sales rep goes into this data model right here and creates a forecast, and then this forecast then can be forwarded to the sales managers for the approval. Now the managers can either accept it, reject it, or simply delete it. And then if they validate the forecast, here is an example of what a validated forecast would look like. And we will notice something very different in this worksheet right here. Let me just confirm this. All right, so here This is a validated forecast worksheet. And like I was mentioning, we will notice something different in this worksheet, which are these columns highlighted in the blue. Now, when the columns are highlighted in the blue in SEI, it tells us that each individual cell within these worksheets is activated with the data entry mode. So which means I can then go into each individual cell and enter a new amount just to make some tweaks, for example. So if I want to change this amount 120,000 to, let's say, 180,000, and I hit enter, so it's going to save this as exact same amount, but it's also going to affect the top rows as well as the totals row, since that is based on the rules defined in the backend. It could be split by ratio or simply sum of all the different cells put together. It really depends on how we would want to customize and set up these rules for the calculating the totals, and it is done so. And once the validated forecast worksheet is ready, then we can push this data into the forecast dashboards as well. So I'll show you an example of a forecast dashboard, but what I wanted to show you right here is how easy it is to bring in a new view into these dashboards. So remember the view that we just saved? It was right here in the sales, invoice analysis, and this chart that I created. So I can simply drag and drop this just like this. And next time I see, a brand new view has now been added into this dashboard, which is showing me the quarters. And then I can still drill down on this view while remaining within this dashboard. And then coming back to the forecast again, here I'll open one of the forecast dashboards as well to show you that in the action. So here is the dashboard called forecast performance. By the way, all of these are again something that we get out of the box. Nothing is something that I have created on my own. Everything that we have seen, all the reports that we have seen so far in the dashboards, they are all delivered out of the box. But then if you would want to create something on your own, then of course we have the ability to do that. So in this dashboard, which is a forecast performance dashboard, we are looking at, again, a lot of different KPIs where we're comparing the actuals versus the forecast. One of the filtering panels here is called the cutoff period. And let me go and select cutoff period 3 and apply that. Now we will see in this dashboard that the first 3 bars are showing me the actual amounts, whereas the following ones, which are in the lighter shade of the blue, are showing me the forecast numbers. So this way we can clearly compare the actuals versus forecast. Right here, the view right under this graph is the top 10 products. Now, here I can see the blue bars, which are showing me the actual amounts, versus the red slots, which are showing me the forecast amounts. So clearly for the first 2 products, let's say the first one itself, FIN003, we are almost close to the forecast numbers. And the one, which is FIN008, we have already surpassed the forecast numbers since the blue bar is surpassing the red slot. So those kinds of insights become very, very clear and useful when it comes to gaining some meaningful insights through these dashboards and visuals. All right, so that's mostly what I wanted to cover with the web application side of SEI. And now I will also take a moment to quickly show you the the Excel add-in platform of SEI. And here are some of the sample reports which we have created using Excel add-in for SEI. So these are financial analysis, income statement reports, trial balance, balance sheet, and some of the dashboards too. And all of these are being created using this add-ins button right here. There are over 20 different tools which users get to extract the data, for example, in the real time directly from the database. So that's the tool for that. And each individual cell, as I'm clicking on that, we can see a big formula written down for each of one of them. But nobody actually wrote down this formula manually because it's all taken care of by the formula wizard. Now, once I click on formula wizard, it presents a new wizard for me where I can go and pick the data model of my choice, add the fields and the operations, and add some of the filters. So for example, fiscal year, it is taking the field from D7, which is right here. It also highlights the cell for us, making it very easy. So it really is a click and add functionality within Excel add-in to create and calculate these cells to create the reports which look like this. Some of the other advanced tools here are that we can also drill down on these reports. So the tool here, formula drill down, I can in fact go in here and select some of the fields. Let's say, in fact, I'll just switch to another worksheet here and do the formula drill down for account code 41100 just to make it more relevant to an example. So here I'm going to select all these different transactions that I would like to include in the drill down. So there we go, we click on OK. And then the next thing we would see is a new worksheet, a spreadsheet which is created. Oops, sorry about that. Okay, I'm so sorry about that. The Excel just stopped working all of a sudden. Here it is reopening again. So yes, so we can actually do the drill down on these reports based in Excel also, and then we can also create the duplicate worksheets spread across different fiscal periods and so on as well. So let me just quickly go ahead and do this again. So what I'm doing here is actually authenticating myself, that every time we try to access a worksheet which has been created using SCI, the first thing it would do is to do the security check so that the users who are logging in should be authenticating themselves to have the access to the data. So once I have the access and once I'm authenticated, I'll be able to use this report. So one of the tools here is called the duplicator tool, so which could actually be used to create the multiple copies of these reports spread across either whether fiscal periods or department codes or different cost centers as well. So I'll quickly show you an example of what that would look like. Let's say if I want to create an income statement report spread across different fiscal periods. So here I go into GL transactions and I pick fiscal period. And let's say if I want to spread it across the first 5 fiscal periods, I add them, and then I can further choose the field right here. In fact, let me just go here. So fiscal period, and I'm going to spread it across the first 5 fiscal periods again, and then choose the fiscal period from this cell. I'm clicking on OK, and then here, as we see now, the 5 different spreadsheets have already been built, which are showing me the data for each fiscal period. Fiscal period 1 for spreadsheet 1, fiscal period 2, and the spreadsheet 2, which is showing me the different data for that, keeping the same layout for this report. So these are some of the examples I wanted to show you within Excel. And with that, I will hand over the presentation to Olivia to follow up on the rest of the slides.
So I know we had a question a little bit earlier about the differences between SEI and SI. I won't get into them in too much more detail because I'm not an expert on SI, but luckily James with BAASS knows both solutions very, very well and can help answer your questions in more detail. But just to sum it up, really, when we're talking about an Excel tool for financial reporting that can help you run, of course, your financial reports, again, in real time from an Excel interface. And really, if that's all you need, SI is definitely a great fit for you. If you want to take things a step further and start doing more web-based data analysis and reporting, you know, maybe a little bit of budgeting and forecasting, be able to work from a web and an Excel interface, then you would look at something like SEI. especially if you're looking to report on different areas of the business, whether it be sales, any kind of operational data, that's when you would kind of move towards a solution like SEI. So why Sage Enterprise Intelligence? In summary, we kind of went through these and you saw throughout the demonstration, there's a seamless integration to Sage. So we have all the templates ready to go for Sage 300 that you can start using from day one. The empowerment of the user, despite connectivity issues, hopefully we were able to show you how easy it is just to drag and drop things around and really modify things on the fly. SEI will help organizations make better decisions by really providing the data in real time, putting it into the hands of the people who need it in a way that it makes sense to them. Reduces the complexities and costs associated with building reports, maybe trying to get your data out of various different systems can sometimes be a lengthy, complex process. Eliminate the manual entry as well that some of you might still be doing today. So again, reducing those costs when it comes to data analysis and reporting, increasing company-wide productivity by, again, putting the data in the hands of people who need it and being able to share data within the organization more easily and quickly. Last but not least, it's scalable. It could go very, very small and it can scale up depending on what your needs are, how many users you need accessing it, what kind of reporting you want to do. SEI can really grow with your organization with no issue. So on that note, I will leave it open for questions. I'll leave it on this slide here, just a couple of things of what our customers are saying about their use of the solution. I won't read them out loud, but I'll leave it on this slide. And then I think Remington will be able to facilitate some of the questions with, I think, the 2 minutes that we have left.
Yes, I do have some questions that have come in here, so we'll try to get as many as we can. The first one is Sage Enterprise Intelligence a Sage-owned product or a third-party solution offered by Tangerine?
It is a third-party solution. However, it is through an OEM contract with Sage. So they have the rights, the full rights to the solution in terms of reselling the software under their own name worldwide through business partners. So no, it isn't owned by Sage, but the agreement that we have with Sage has it as a Sage branded solution. Good question.
Our organization reports by program and various managers oversee different programs. Could SEI be used to allow managers to see income statements for just their programs rather than an income statement for the entire organization as a whole?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that can all be set up in the security settings as well. You can secure the data sources, you can secure, the companies you want to have access to, you can set it up any which way that you like.
Are there options to generate payroll reports? The Sage 300 payroll module reports are okay, but we're always looking for more customizable reports.
Absolutely, and I believe we might already have some out of the box as well. So I can get back to you to let you know or speak with James and he'll share that with you, but definitely possible.
This one's kind of similar. We have a fairly robust set of reports currently developed in Sage BI. How easy is it to port these over to Enterprise Intelligence, or do you have to rebuild all the reports?
This is a great question, and unfortunately there is no direct kind of transfer tool from SI to SEI. That being said, what we often find is that you might have many reports that are set up in SI that we might already have out of the box with SEI, or if not, because of the features and functionality, especially in Excel, using things like the duplicator and the filters and so on and so forth, they might not be too difficult to recreate. In addition to that, you might find yourself actually having to create fewer reports in SEI than you have in SI, again, due to things like the filtering and the duplicator functionality. But if ever you wanted to do a review of those reports, I know James's team has done this several times before with other solutions as well. You can definitely set up a call with his team and they'll review those reports with you and kind of give you a better idea of what it would take to recreate those reports.
Okay, and since we're a little over time, I'll just ask one more question. Is SEI an additional add-on for Sage 300? We have Designer, Report Viewer, and Report Manager.
Yes, it is an additional add-on.
So with that being all the questions that we'll have today, if your question was not answered, we will have someone reach out to you directly to answer these questions. But I would just like to thank Olivia and Jez Deep for presenting today, and we're going to take a 10-minute break and rejoin at 1:40 for the next session, which on this track will be Sage Intelligence Visualization with Power BI, and on track 2, it'll be Wise Planner.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.